4 members of the City Council endorsed a ballot measure that would increase the city's minimum wage and add 5 sick days for all employees. Among supporters at yesterday's rally was my guest, University of San Diego economist Alan Jin. Welcome back.
Thank you.
Now, Alan, the supporting council members actually sent a memo to Mayor Faulconer stating that the city ballot measure would seek an unspecified minimum wage increase that would be tied to the cost of living index and be updated annually. It would include a phase-in period to allow more time for small businesses and nonprofits to comply, and the measure would give all employees 5 earned sick days a year. Let's start with these sick days. How much of an impact would 5 days throughout the year sick days have on local or small businesses?
Right now, there's not a lot of economic research in terms of sick days. I think it's more of a public health consideration. You know, do we want retail people, do we want servers at restaurants working when they're sick? That could have some negative public health implications. But right now, not much in terms of the economic impact, at least in terms of data.
Okay, and I know the minimum wage right now is $8 an hour in California. It's going to go to $9 an hour this summer and then $10 an hour in about 2 years. Does this mean that our minimum wage, that $10 an hour, if we ultimately get there, is keeping up with inflation?
It's helping, but the minimum wage reached its maximum buying power in San Diego in 1968. At that time, it was $1.65 an hour. If it had kept pace with inflation since then, it'd be $13.87 today.
So that said, you actually support this wage increase. How much would you like to see the minimum wage be here?
I don't have a number at this point. I think it does need to be above the state level of $10 an hour because the cost of living here is so much higher. I don't think we're going to get to $13.87, but somewhere in there I think is where we'll end up.
Well, San Diego's Chamber of Commerce opposes the minimum wage increase. CEO Jerry Sanders declined an interview request, but released a statement that reads in part, an additional increase on top of the recently approved $10 an hour increase by the state would put San Diego at further competitive disadvantage. How do you respond to concerns that this wage increase will push businesses to either outlying cities, it would cost jobs because those workers would go to the businesses in nearby cities that will hire them?
Well, the research on this is mixed. You know, prior to the 1990s, most economists thought that the minimum wage would cost jobs, but recent research has shown the impact to be minimal, if none at all. And so, as a result of that, you know, when the minimum wage increases, businesses respond in different ways. The productivity of workers increases because they have more at stake. There's less turnover, so that helps reduce costs as far as businesses are concerned. And the big thing is that it gives workers, low-income workers, more money, and that boosts demand as far as businesses are concerned.
Well, and the consumer side of this is, the consumer argument is, I've been told, some people say, oh, the consumers will go shop elsewhere because businesses are going to pass the increased cost of the wage onto the consumer, so consumers are going to go to nearby cities where it's going to be less because they don't have that.
I think there are a lot of factors in people's decisions. Sometimes people will go out of the way to try to get these lower prices. But I think, you know, habits are difficult to break as far as consumers are concerned. One thing that's been found is that it works on the other side as well. Workers tend to want to work in cities that have higher wages, and so maybe you attract a higher talent pool.
Well, a recent report by Center on Policy Initiatives found a family of 4 here in San Diego needs to make $85,000 or just pretty close to $85,000 a year to live in San Diego without government assistance, which if I did the math right, it works out to about both adults in the family need to make about $20 an hour in order to reach that goal. What kind of impact would making less than that, I guess, a low minimum wage have on San Diego's overall economy?
Well, last week a report came out by the Congressional Budget Office that showed that if the national minimum wage was increased to $10 an hour, that would lift 900,000 people out of poverty. So I think an increase in the minimum wage here would have a similar impact. One fiscal benefit from that is reduce the amount that would be necessary to spend on government aid, food stamps, low-income payments, things like that. And so it could have some positive fiscal impacts.
Well, we'll be following this closely with you. Economist Alan Jin, thank you.